Welcome everybody to our party. And this is your host, Rosie Aiello, and welcome you to the Empowered Women's Prosperity Party. And we're here to help you have more fun and make money at the same time. Does that sound great or what? And we have gathered some of the top women in business and one fun-loving and super guy to share their expertise with you. And today, I'm just so excited to introduce to you this amazing woman. I mean, she is just off the top of the charts. Can't even say it. I'm so excited to have her. I mean, she's sweet. She's smart. I mean, she's just got it all. I just love her so much. And I'm talking about Sharla Jacobs. And Sharla has an award-winning multi-million-dollar business with her husband, Jesse Corn. And they're famous for turning ordinary coaches and holistic practitioners into transformational leaders who make a six-figure income. When they first started out, they struggled to get enough clients to make ends meet. Fortunately, they figured out an effective and heart-based method for attracting tons of new clients. In their first year together, they went from $0 to $175,000. And now they have taught their step-by-step system to over 25,000 people. Jesse and Sharla also believe in giving back. They have given over $10 million in scholarships to their own events, and they have contributed over $100,000 to causes they believe in. So we're here, and I'm so glad you've joined this party, Sharla, because it's the people who make the party, isn't it?
Well, I'm so glad you invited me to be here, Rosie. It's so sweet to be here with you. I think you and I actually first met on the bus after I spoke at the eWomen Network, the conference, and you were the International FemTour Award winner, I believe, which is about connecting people, right? And
that's right.
I think you had actually been to our event, and so we kind of knew each other before, and it's just been delightful to connect with you since the first time we connect. I can see how you're the woman to know who knows everybody, right? And
yes. You know what? I'll drink to that. So tell me, what is your passion and your purpose with your work? People always want to know, where's it coming from? And I know you're very heart-centered, so I want to have everybody else hear your story.
Yeah, so, I sometimes call this multi-million-dollar business a divine accident because it certainly was never in my plans to, be considered an international authority on what it takes to attract clients, particularly for coaches and holistic practitioners. And it certainly wasn't in my plans to have the largest holistic business training program, at least in California, maybe even in the United States. But you never know what the universe has in store for you when you take one step after another. Yeah. And, the short version, I'll share the short version of my story because I know I want to get to some real, meaty, juicy stuff around how to help everybody here who's listening to attract some more clients. But the short story is that I got my acupuncture and coaching license. It's been about 12, 13 years now. And before that, I had just been in college. I think I was about 30 when this happened. And I didn't know anything about marketing and sales. I, went to a few free business coaching, mentoring things that were with SCORE and the Small Business Development Center, and didn't really realize that being passionate and having a dream was not enough to make a business work. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. Mm-hmm. And I was barely getting by. And I remember being at the grocery store one day with, at the health food store with an organic avocado in one hand and a conventional avocado in the other hand, thinking like, I can't afford the extra $1. I got $200 in my bank account, less than that, and rent was due, and was barely getting by. And I was making within about 3 months of starting my coaching and acupuncture practice, was making about $1,800 a month. But I live in beautiful Santa Cruz, California, and that's not quite enough to get by. Mm-hmm. So I was really fortunate, Rosie, because I had a friend that I had known from some transformational work I had done who was a coach to people who were new in business. And he promised me that if I did my homework, that I would triple my income in 90 days. Now, I told you I was barely paying the bills, but tripling meant getting to about $5,000 a month. I thought that was a start. And I thought in 90 days, okay. And I didn't even know what the homework was. I didn't have the money to hire him. He charged $600 a month at the time.
Right.
But I borrowed the money from Jesse, who had a job at the time. Yeah. And when I found out what the homework was, I almost fell off my seat. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
my homework was to have 20 conversations for business 5 days a week. So you do the math. He wanted me to have 100 sales conversations on the phone, go to every networking event, go talk to people, ask for referrals, whatever it is. And but here's the thing: it was either do that or go back and get a job that wasn't fulfilling. So I fully dove in, and to be honest with you, I had about 12 conversations a day. I tallied them up. I had a little spreadsheet. And what happened was pretty miraculous, because about 60 days in, and I learned everything the hard way. I had hardly any distinctions about what it means to be, great with people in a conversation. But what happened is, about the 60-day mark, things started clicking for me. And while this coach is great, he's still a friend of mine. He held me accountable. He, coached me, and we do some role plays, that kind of a thing. But because I was such a geek about the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, Jesse and I looked at what was working and not working in my sales conversations through the lens of these 5 elements: the fire, earth, metal, water, wood. And we discovered that when all 5 elements were present, that people were leaning in, they were interested, they often said yes. If they didn't say yes, they wanted to refer, or they just felt like they were left in a good place. And it was a complete paradigm shift for me, because up until that point, I hated anything to do with sales. And now, since that time, that was the beginning. That was like a divine download, really. It was the beginning of this movement that we've created, where our heart selling system, we've taught to over 25,000 people now. And what happened for me is I built my own private practice. Jesse followed suit shortly after. And, we just kept taking one step after the other. At some point, the private practice didn't make sense, because our live events were really calling me forth. And I feel pretty blessed that we've gotten to work with some of the most heart-centered people in the world, and launched some real rock stars through our work. I mean, people, even I think one of your mentors is somebody that we launched, right?
Yeah, more than one. Yes, you've done quite a few, and I've been at your events are absolutely fabulous. And I love that you started really this coach prompted you to make these calls, but that forced or enlightened you to really get with your heart from the very beginning. I mean, so talking about your passion, it was just like, it was linked in from day one, when it just all clicked.
It did. And, I do want to clear up, because there might be a little tension for anybody watching right now. I'm never going to ask you to have 20 conversations a day. That was the way I did it, to learn on the, on the street. It's like learning in the court without, having a little coaching. Many of our clients are actually talking to 3 people a week and making $10,000 a month. So I just want to let you know it doesn't have to be that hard.
Right.
And the interesting thing for us, because, we've been around for over a decade now, it's kind of, I don't know, I'm starting to get a little, I don't know, something's happening here.
All right. We're not going for that, lady.
But, it's a trip that we've been doing this for over a decade now, and have taught so many people, and have launched so many people in their business. And I don't know, it's pretty shocking to me that we've been here. And a couple of years ago, we did a rebrand, and we got really present to what is the real passion and purpose of what we're doing this work for. And I'm saying this because, this is after 8 years of being in business that we really got present to what the depth is for us. And really, my desire in this world is that holistic living is the planetary norm. I want to be able to go to a restaurant in Kansas and get organic lettuce, and I want people to have access to something that's other than, that's more integrative. There's a time and place for Western medicine, but there is so much value to be gained from people working with holistic practitioners and giving some natural methods of thought. And in addition, that how many things can we overcome in our life from working with a coach, and not just going traditional methods, the long, hard, slow way, but can we actually look at these new methods that are very powerful, getting under the surface? And so that's what it's really about for us, and that's our passion.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, speaking of, you were talking about hard, so I want to ask you, can you share with us some really practical tips of how you create fun and have fun in your business? Because if we're not having fun, it's not fun to make money, right?
Right. Well, it's interesting.
So how do you have fun? What do you do to create fun? Give us some tips we can write down and people can start doing right now.
Well, I think the first thing that I would really recommend for anybody to see is, what type of person are you? were you, and you can even look back at your habits when you were in school to figure out kind of how you were. I am one of those people that actually likes to dive into things fully. I love working with people and getting a project done. And for whatever reason, that's part of my makeup, that, whatever wounds I overcame. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, right? So I'm somebody who actually has a lot of fun in collaborating and getting something done and moving things along. But not everybody is that way. So you really have to find what's going to work in alignment with your own natural way of working in the world.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And then you have to really create your business and the structures in your business in a way that are things that you enjoy doing. So one of the things that I really encourage everyone to take a look at is you have to get crystal clear about what your strategic objective is for everything you do in your business. And it's going to be one of 3 things generally. It's going to be either you're driving people to a free consultation, you're driving people to some kind of a teleseminar where they can, you can make an offer for a product, or you're driving people to some kind of a live event where you can make an offer for something. So everything that you do has got to be one of those 3. And I really ask people to step back and take a look at what is going to be, what is going to be the most fun for you and what's going to be the most effective for you. Most people start with a free consultation. The free consultation formula, our template for free consultations has been responsible for tens of millions of dollars in sales for our clients.
Right.
And it's the easiest one to start out with. So when you look at those 3 models, and I say those 3 because where else are you going to have somebody actually say yes? And a lot of times people think they're going to skip over this if they're going to learn how to, sell stuff online. Well, we've been doing this for 10 years and we just did a big online launch. And,
yes.
It's like, just the level of investment in learning how to do that, it's you got to really understand your people before you do any of that. And the bottom line is those are the 3 ways to have people say yes. I always say start with free consultations. Speaking is also a really powerful way. You can actually get lots of free consultations from speaking.
Right.
You've got to figure out what's the most aligned for you in your natural way of being, and then figure that out. Now, in our business, we do live events, and we have a ton of fun. I mean, Rosie, you've been.
I know. They're great.
We have lots of fun. There's lots of dancing and high fives and hugging if you're into
massages.
Massages. And we try to be entertaining in what we're doing, so it's just a lot of fun. And that's one of the ways that we insert fun. Is I can't imagine being somebody who would lead a live event and just stand there behind a podium. That's just not my style, right? So I say you've got to figure out what your style is and really play to your strengths, play to your personality as best you can.
I love that because not everyone is the same, and and what's important is being able to really reach out and touch those people that is authentic to you.
Yes. And
you gave such great examples. I never thought of it that way, but so thank you.
Yeah, like you, Rosie, like you are somebody who's very personable. I certainly can see you on stage, and my first thought when just getting to know you and just the interactions that we've had one-on-one is that you probably have a blast doing one-on-one consultations as the way for people to say yes. And so, that would be such a great thing for you to do, right?
Yes. And I love having my own live events too. I love being with people. I just love that energy of being with people.
Right. And not everybody does, so if somebody's more introverted, if you're more of an introvert, then probably the free consultations and the one-on-one is going to be your way that's going to be enjoyable for you. Connect with somebody one-on-one, and then you got to put your structures in place to take care of yourself.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Really great shares. So what are some of your best and let's say easiest money-making strategies? Some strategies that they can some practical tips, again, that's our listeners can really say, oh, I'm going to do one of those. I love that. That relates to me.
Yes.
Great. I know you've got dozens.
We have, last I counted, we have 52 days of content to share. So that's a lot of days, but I'll boil it down here. I was just talking about the free consultation, and if you were going to do nothing else in your business, I would say, a couple of things. I would say, can you get crystal clear on who you're helping and the problem that you're solving? I think in the ebook that you put out with this, that I talked about niche and how that was such a struggle for me. So can you get clear about who you're solving, who you're helping and the problem you're solving? The next thing that I would say is that you've got to get really crystal clear about this, what I'd call a business model. Are you going to have people, you're wanting people to say yes to a free consultation? So then you can do the free consultation formula. Mm-hmm. You can have what we call heart selling conversations, not hard selling, but heart selling.
Yes.
You can have those conversations where if you do it well, people will practically talk themselves into working with you if it's a good match. And there's nothing like that feeling of really having a potential client, being in a conversation with them, being there to fully serve them. And I probably should touch on the 5 elements. So remind me, I'll touch on these because it's really essential.
They are. They're beautiful.
I want to make sure you have these. This is something practical you can walk away with.
Okay.
What is your business model? Are you going to be offering free consultations? Are you going to be launching with teleseminars or webinars? That is usually for people a step 2 or step 3. It's not something you're going to do right away. You really have to invest in mentorship to get that done. Or are you going to be doing speaking gigs and live events? And so to get crystal clear on which of these 3, how many of these 3 that you're going to be working with, and in what order, and for everyone, if you're just starting out or if your business isn't going how you want it to go, I would recommend that you have conversations with people, inviting them to a free consultation, and then have a conversation with them about working together for at least a package if you don't already have a program of some sort. Now, a lot of people have reservations when I talk about a free consultation because they've given stuff away for free. And maybe it's not the strategy we're talking about, but actually how effective you are in the communication. And this is why one of the most important things I recommend to everybody is you've got to learn hard selling. And, hard selling is our brand of it, but you have got to learn how to have a conversation with a potential client where they practically talk themselves into working with you. And essentially, there are 5 elements to every heart selling conversation. I mentioned them earlier. I said fire, earth, metal, water, wood. But let me break this down for you. So the fire element is all about connection. Mm-hmm. This is the energy from your heart. If somebody does not feel this warm connection with you, they're gone. They're not going to consider working with you, especially if you do any kind of intimate work. And let me tell you, if you're doing anything one-on-one, even if you're a business coach, there's intimacy there because people are going to reveal vulnerable things to you, and they have got to be able to trust you. And that happens from you being a warm, open, connecting person, right? Somebody that just feels friendly and that they want to be around. So that's the fire element, is connection. The next element is the earth element, and this is all about service, right? How do we show up in a way with our potential clients so that we are fully in service to them? Now, that doesn't mean we leave ourselves behind, right? But that we're fully in service to them, and most importantly, in service to them getting what they say they want. Yeah. Because here's the thing.
It's so important.
It is. It's like, if I'm just pushing my own agenda, that's one thing. But if I'm showing up in service to what somebody wants, and if we back up and we've got a niche that is something that just draws people to you, it's a problem people are already dealing with, this conversation is so much easier. Now, being in service doesn't mean you spend 2 hours doing the free consultation. It means that you clearly have a conversation with them to help them get clear on where they are, where they want to be, what's the gap, what's in the way, and then see if you are working, if working together is a good match.
And just talking it out, don't you, just as they're voicing things. You can ask a simple question, and I've had this, it's like, when they hear themselves, they realize it.
Yeah,
it's just asking like the right questions in the right way, which you and Jessie teach so well.
Yeah, and it really is like, well, what are you looking for? Like that is a simple question that you could ask somebody in a free consultation, and they will just lay it all out for you. They will just tell you, like, well, what's the biggest challenge you're having? What do you want instead? By the way, if you aren't writing these questions down that I'm sharing, they seem simple, but these are brilliant questions to be using in a free consultation, so someone will actually almost talk themselves into working with you, and actually will do that if it's a good match.
And that's why they can hear the replay if they didn't get them down quickly.
Right. So that's the earth element. The fire element is, the metal element is, honestly, this one is critical, and I can't tell you how this is missing for so many coaches and holistic practitioners that we meet, especially clinical practitioners. A lot of people just get taught to just talk about what's wrong with someone. But the metal element, and by the way, at our Client Attraction Summit, we go through why metal equals this and all that, and we don't have time for that right now. But the metal element is all about acknowledgement. Do you actually really see the divinity in the person that you're talking with? And share that with them in a way that they feel gotten and seen. Because when someone feels gotten and seen, they're just going to lean into you. And that's really what you need to establish that relationship so someone trusts you and wants to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's the metal element. The next element is another one that's really missing. And especially if you don't have this element, you're missing half of the people that have concerns around money or time or need to think about it or whatever. You're losing these people if you're missing the water element, and that is be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Get under the surface of what someone is saying. You know, people will say all kinds of things. They'll put up smoke screens about, you know, time, money, whatever. And in order to not feel vulnerable, to not want to share, there are all kinds of reasons. And so if you can actually master the water element and use curiosity and go, you know, be willing to go under the surface. And I tell a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners, like, pretend they're already your client. You know, talk to them as if they're already your client, and then you will be able to go more deeply with them.
That's a great tip, because that reduces your own personal fears. Like, oh, am I trying to sell it? You know,
right.
So you as the coach are trying to seek this potential client. It's like you start to have your own issues that come manifesting up. So as you're trying to connect with them, your own issues start to come up, and then that helps relieve it. I love that idea.
Yeah, so if you're more curious, then you actually will find out what's going on with them instead of making stuff up in your own head, right?
Exactly.
It's over here.
And moving it from about you to really about them, because you want to serve them.
Exactly. Yes. So
that's
the water element of curiosity. And then this last element really, you know, in the decade plus that we've been doing this, I would say that 90% of the coaches and holistic practitioners who come to our Client Attraction Summit are missing this element when they attend.
Mm-hmm.
It's the wood element. And we say, give them a choice. The wood element, give them a choice. So are you leaving the conversation with a clear next step? Or are you leaving it open-ended, like, call me if you're interested, and handing them a card? Call me if you're interested is it's like the first recipe for disaster. Nobody's going to call. They're going to recycle your card. I mean, maybe, you know, 2 out of 100 people you talk with might call. But you've got to be more directive. I mean, the wood element is like really directive. It's bold, and it's clear. It's got a vision where it's going. You know, think about a seedling, like it's growing to the light. There's nothing that's going to stop it. And I'm not saying be pushy, because you can do this in a way that feels natural. But when you actually understand the energy of a conversation, and you really become masterful at hard selling, you just know, just like in the movies, you know when it's the right time. Oh, you all heard that? Just like you know that when it's the right time, you know, you're watching a movie, you know when it's the right time that they're going to kiss. You just can feel it, right?
Right. Same thing.
In the conversations with potential clients, where you feel when it's the right time to ask for the next step. Would you like to follow up? Would you like to get started? Those are great yes or no questions. These are not maybe, you know, yes or no. That's where you want to take the wood element.
And I've had that a lot, you know, where I've asked them, you know, sometimes they're not ready. And I said, well, can I follow up with you? And sometimes I follow up with them a number of times. And I would say each and every time I followed up, they're always saying, I am so glad you followed up with me. It wasn't, you know, like, oh, here she's calling. It was never that, because I created the atmosphere. I connected with them.
Yes.
And they really appreciate it. And I think some people forget that. They think, oh, I'm being too pushy.
No, they're happy to hear from you.
Yeah. And so they have, again, we're thinking in our own heads, we're making these assumptions. So it's so good that you bring this point up, because I think a lot of coaches make the wrong assumption and don't follow up when people are waiting to hear from you.
They are. Absolutely. They want to hear from you, and they want help. They want their problem solved. They want somebody to listen to them. They want someone to get them. They want someone to help them. And maybe there are some blocks. And here's an interesting piece about this that I want to talk a little bit about, dancing with concerns. Most sales trainings call these overcoming objections, but we change all the language of traditional sales training. We never close sales. We get the commitment. You know, it's just a very different context. But with dancing with concerns, it oftentimes the very concern that someone has in moving forward with working with you is the same concern that's getting in the way of them having what they want in their life. Mm-hmm. So they say, listen, yes, I really want to have my business be successful, but, you know, I don't have the money to hire you as a business coach, for example. Well, if you can't invest in your business, how are you going to be successful? And if you are having that conversation with yourself, how are you able to have that conversation with other people to hold them to their highest commitment instead of just believing their stories? Now, I'm not saying that people's concerns aren't valid. They're valid, they're real for them. You have to acknowledge that, but you've got to do it in a way that you're really standing for their, what's in their highest good, and standing there like they're next to them, like you're their partner, and helping them get what they want. And that's really a context for what heart selling is about.
That's fabulous. And it's heart.
Heart selling.
Really right in your heart.
Yes.
And when you do heart selling, it's not hard.
Right.
It's really that connection. Oh my gosh, Sharla, this was, of course, I knew you'd be fabulous because I've heard you speak a number of times. I've attended your events and we've chatted personally. And I just, again, on behalf of all of our guests who are listening, I want to cheer you and everybody else. And thank you for those really, really practical tips. And I urge everybody who's listening to listen to this more than once. She shared so much information, so much valuable information. You do not want to miss any of it. And Sharla, do you have a little parting gift for our guests?
I do. I want you to join my party. Come party with me.
Yes.
Actually, I have two special gifts. The first gift is I want to invite you to join us and actually join me for a 5-part video series, The 5 Keys to Attract Clients Without Struggle. They're fun, short, entertaining videos. You can go to clientattractionsummit.com, opt in there, put in your name and email address, and you'll get instant access to those videos. Now, once you get there, there's the second gift that I want to offer you. Now, I've mentioned the Client Attraction Summit. This is a 3-day live event, and if you are not attracting all the clients you want, where you're just magnetizing people to you and people easily say yes to you, I want to invite you to this event. If you go to our website at thrive-academy.com, you'll see that the event is $997, and really you could pay $5,000, honestly, for the value that you're going to get here. During the Client Attraction Summit, we're going to teach you how to have an inspiring, you're going to actually get your inspiring vision. We're going to do an powerful exercise to help you really get present to what it is that you're doing here and what it's all about. We'll also do some work to help you really end the most negative sabotaging belief that's getting in your way. We all know that much of what happens in business success is from inner game, and so let's just get one of those gremlins, as we call them. Let's get them out of there, right?
Exactly.
Get them out. And so we'll do an exercise, and many people say that that was just a landmark turning point in their life where suddenly things were different. Also, if you ever struggle with answering the question, what do you do? We're going to give you a powerful template so that when someone asks you, what do you do? And you share, people will say, oh, I need to talk with you, or, oh, I need to introduce you to somebody. We want your what do you do statement to be that crystal clear and powerful that people can't wait to talk with you more or can't wait to work with you. And then, of course, I shared a little tiny bit about heart selling today and the 5 elements of heart selling. We're going to go deeply into each one of the elements with experiential exercises so you get these in your bones. So it's not just some theoretical thing that I just taught you today, but that it's something that you walk away going, yeah, I know how to acknowledge people. I know how to give people a choice and feel comfortable. I know how to be curious. There's so much more, including, how to answer the question, how much do you charge? As a matter of fact, it's like 90% of the people that come to the event give themselves a raise during the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You deserve a raise.
Yes.
Also, how do you answer that with clarity and with comfort?
Well, thank you.
Yes, there's so much. So
you can just see, my dear guests, how generous Sharla is. I mean, her gifts and her bonuses and on and on. And if you go to her event, you're just going to get that even 100-fold. So please, excuse me.
Yeah.
So you want to go to claim your gift, you go to womensprosperity.com/gift. And as I mentioned, Sharla gave so much information. You're going to want to listen to this over and over until you have it memorized and it's in your heart. So go to womensprosperity.com/VIP. So you can claim right now for only $97 before it goes double. You can get the whole package of all of our fantastic speakers, and you can see the quality. Sharla, you have just been a gem. Your brilliance, your wisdom, your kindness, your generosity is just a pleasure to have known, to know you. And I'm so glad you joined our party.
Thank you. Thank you.
So here's to prosperity and fun while making money. How's that?
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.